Bro.
Jim Jones's pulse was throbbing with an extraordinary ferocity as he paced back and forth in his small apartment. It had started off like any other Wednesday, but there was a palpable unease in the air that felt electric. His girlfriend, Chrissy, occupied his thoughts. They had shared breathtakingly passionate moments, but lately the distance between them made his skin crawl. Meanwhile, Chrissy was at her friend's house, basking in the warmth of conversation and laughing. The light flowing through the window in the afternoon made her feel alive and free from the weight of her past. Still, she couldn't help but notice how much he resembled the man she had once loved. Carried a draw that, try as she may, she could never fully shake. He was shrugged off as the sun set and the sky turned a brilliant orange. Jim had a chill down his spine at a friend's message as his phone rang menacingly. It looks like Common is coming back to town. He put the message aside, feeling a flood of heat run over his face and doubt seeping like poison into his heart, driven by an unanticipated need to face the truth. Anger swelled with dread. As soon as Jim got into his car, his mind went to Chrissy and how her eyes would light up when he surprised her. But as he drove, he noticed a familiar automobile parked, and his happiness turned to fear. He took a big breath, threw open the door, and saw what looked like an abdominal punch. His heart fell out of his chest, his fists tightened, the laughter inside sounding like a mocking echo when he saw Common's car there. Jim was stretched out on the couch, laughing uncontrollably and exuding intimacy with his body language as he bellowed, "What the hell is going on here?" Dangerous and stifling, Chrissy turned to sit up, wiping off all color with the swivel of her head over her face. "Jim, you mentioned that you were done with Jim, so I'm not really sure where to begin." Jim growled, every word replete with betrayal. Common got to his feet, his hands clenched defensively, his face showing a mix of frustration and shock. "Jim Man says there's more to this than meets the eye. Set aside the words you have spoken," Jim said as he got closer. "I don't want to hear your pitiful justifications." There was an aura of tension. The space became cold. The tension in the room was almost tangible. Chrissy's eyes flashed with regret and fear. "Jim, would you kindly allow me to explain?" what he yelled, with wrath in her eyes. "As you've been lying to me behind my back, I can see that I wasn't sneaking about, increasing with every word you shouted to me." Weeping, Chrissy's voice faltered. "I assumed we could just have a conversation," but Jim sneered, obviously not buying into what he was hearing. "Can you identify this as speech?" Intertwined with him as though you had never left, and as he turned to storm out, he felt a piece of himself break. The room was filled with laughter, and he didn't want to participate in the joke. It seemed like a terrible betrayal. The door closed behind him, signifying their betrayed confidence's irreversibility. The sharp night air had an adrenaline rush that left him dizzy and overtaken with emotions. If they were to have any chance at all, is he ever going to trust Chrissy again? A profound longing for answers and betrayal both made his chest grow heavy. Jim realized that this was just the beginning and that many bright and dark opportunities lay ahead as the night sped off. It continued. Could such an agonizing parting possibly survive passionate love? The solution felt as distant as the night itself, and the journey ahead was anything but straightforward. Walking through the streets of the city, he had to confront the alluring perils of the past and the hard, unadorned realities of love betrayal. There was a lot of laughter and clinking of glasses in the modern restaurant as the sun had fallen low over New York City, giving the busy streets below a golden tint. However, at one table, things were about to take a dramatic change. Chrissy Lampin sat across from Jim Jones, her expression a mixture of determination and annoyance, had experienced enough highs and lows to never be the same. Chrissy and Jim's mother seemed to be at their most uncomfortable when there was a shadow cast over their discourse. "Jim, we have to talk about your mother," speaking calmly but with a fierce passion. "Chrissy, I can't keep acting like nothing is wrong when she treats me badly so frequently. You need to comprehend her perspective. It's my mom," Jim moaned, massaging the nape of his neck. You cannot keep making excuses for your mother because it's not just about how she treats me, Chrissy said, her eyes glistening. Jim's phone buzzed on the table, sending out a text message that left the room tingling with unspoken emotions. Jim's mother erupted into a diatribe of insults. She's contacting me right now, and it's crazy that she's crying about you causing problems in our family. Your mother won't allow me to be just a part of your life. That's all I want. A nearby table pivoted to listen to Chrissy's remarks. Before Chrissy could reply, a stranger appeared at the side of their table. Jim grew increasingly agitated since it seemed like you were always around her neck. What if you just made an effort to understand her? With rage flashes in her eyes, Jim's mother yelled, "I'm sick of your disrespect." Christine likened TT's string. The strain broke. "Can you seriously enter here and take my son?" Chrissy responded. When things got out of hand, Jim got up to try to defuse the situation, but Chrissy's remark, "You're going to let her talk to me like that," hung in the air like a challenge. "I'm not trying to get rid of him, but you have to be respectful." Jim felt the pressure of his mother's love pushing at him, causing his face to tense up. But Chrissy had had enough. She jumped out of her seat with a fury that was like heat from a fire. "Since you gave her total control while things were chaotic, we are unable to work together." Jim attempted to stop Chris from going forward out of passion and startled everyone in the room by slapping her cheek. Calm restaurant shouts erupted from them. Jim's eyes widened in fear as his heart quickened upon realizing what he had just done. "Do you happen to be here?" As tears filled Chrissy's eyes, her demeanor alternated between icy sadness and a ferocious resolve. "You choose her over me?" she exclaimed. When Jim understood how much his actions had cost him, his heart stopped. Jim remained upright as Chrissy turned on her heel. "Jim, you need to figure out what you want because I won't be part of a love triangle with your mother," she said quietly. Around him, the cafe was quiet and the truth of. Dan was enraged by everything that had transpired lately, including loyalty and treachery. Jim knew when Chrissy asked him to marry her that everything would change. His heart raced, knowing that this was crucial. Would he stand up for Chrissy, or would he let the currents of familial loyalty override their love? December 13, 2019, Fresh York backstage at Barclays Center in New York City during the 2019 Deucepalooza. Photo by Johnny Nooms on Wire. There has to be an end to it eventually. Jim Jones and Lampin L. Chrissy. By 2021, Chrissy Layman informs Jim Jones, despite the fact that they had been together for 18 years, appeared to be divorced during a Love and Hip Hop family reunion on the third season of VH1. She abruptly declined and said, "You want me to be this loving, crazy cook, this, that, and the other, but you come home and you're mean, and you're cold, and you're distant." In a heated exchange between the two, Jones admitted his wrongdoings, claiming that he was scared of getting married. "My family has always been predominantly male, so all I know how to do is try to make ends meet and try to make money. I don't want you to think I'm being selfish in any way because I love you more than anything in this world," Christy exclaimed. We were reminded of this fact by a recent episode of Love and Hip Hop New York. Everything has to end eventually. In the most recent episode, Chrissy Lampin discussed the reasons behind her and Jim's lengthy engagement. When asked about her decision to return to the show after nearly 7 years away, she said that the producers had initially contacted her in an effort to put her back at the center of the program. After giving her relationship some thought, Chrissy said, "For now, everything is going great. Matrimony is not for everyone, but I've always thought of it as the next natural step. We're fine for the time being." The couple has experienced several difficulties in their relationship, which Chrissy openly talked about in 2016. She gave an explanation for her choice to continue being engaged to her then fiancé, arguing that she didn't see the benefit in getting married until either of them was totally ready. "People proceed at different speeds, which is why I'm here. Now that I've made this decision, I don't want to go through with the divorce." In a notable episode, many fans witnessed Chrissy go from New York to Miami to live with JLM, which they regarded as a turning point in their relationship. Their relationship has benefited greatly from their friendship and affection. On December 16, the show's 10th season will premiere on Ad 1. Their romance, fearing that she could desert him, Jim decided not to marry Chrissy, even after making such a wonderful gesture, leaving viewers to speculate about what really makes a pair and what their future together might entail. Jim, attempting to atone for what many saw as his prior lack of commitment, wagered everything on Chrissy's marriage in Miami. Their sincere devotion to each other stands as the true test of their love, regardless of social norms. They keep overcoming challenges and learning to prioritize their own and their group's happiness in high-pressure situations. The audience is enthralled by their narrative and anxiously anticipates further developments and insights into their connection as time goes on. Their journey's universal themes of love, devotion, and personal growth may resonate with the wide audience. They act as a reminder that, while Christian Jim and his trip continue to map out their path, partnerships are about more than just getting somewhere. They're also about the experiences and transformations that occur along the way. In whatever form it may take, we wish them both the clarity, comprehension, and joy that accompany a future full of possibilities. It's important to remember what makes people content and fulfilled, whether or not they decide to get married or stay single. After years of courting and shared experiences, some couples never make it to the altar, and that's perfectly acceptable too. What matters most is that you find happiness and calmness together or separately. The world watches as Chrissy and Jim navigate this new chapter, hoping for information and clarity. A love story is rarely chronological. For those who are just beginning their journey, staying true to themselves while handling the difficulties of a partnership can often be the most important thing. Happiness for the two of them over the next days, regardless of the course they decide to take in the end. The dynamics of their relationship are constantly shifting, capturing the highs and lows of being in love. With every interaction and public presentation, the narrative they are writing together becomes more complex. But there is also friction with A&A. Jones serves as a constant reminder of the value of family in interpersonal relationships and the challenges associated with maintaining them. Sometimes the depths of the water might be debilitating. Jim and Chrissy have both grown as people throughout time, taking lessons from their victories and setbacks. Not just about love, but also about understanding, communication, and respect. As they reflect on their time together, they may consider their future goals for their partnership and themselves. Talks about marriage frequently reflect broader cultural standards, and it's evident that Jim and Chrissy are handling these expectations in distinctive ways. Given the harsh situations from family, fans, and the industry, it may be hard to know what's best for them. Consistently, based on each person's desire or willingness,